with Ephesians 4 1 through 4, which says, "Therefore, I, a prisoner for serving the Lord, beg you to live a life worthy of your calling, for you have been called by God. Always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. Make every effort to keep yourselves united in the Spirit, hiding yourselves together with peace. For there is one body and one Spirit, just as you have been called for one glorious hope for the future." And today, I'm grateful for life, health, strength. I'm grateful for my wife and children. I'm grateful for all my friends and family and each and every one of you. You know, there's so much things we could be grateful for. And this particular scripture, I think, is honestly one of the most powerful statements ever made by the Apostle Paul. It's one of those statements that I hold true to me, and one of those things that you should add into your daily affirmations, right? Um, Mainly because it you know what it is that Paul at this point, right, was a prisoner. He was in jails and sending out these letters from prison, right? And his cry to persons, right, as a Christian, wasn't for them to help him. He wasn't telling everyone to, man, listen, I need y'all to send me some water, send me some food, put something on the commissary. You know what I mean? He wasn't asking for nothing for himself, right? He asked them one thing and one thing only, right? He asked them that they may live a life worthy of their calling, right? Meaning that he wanted them to just be the best person that they could be. Hold on. He wanted them to be the best person that they could be. He wanted them to live the life that God destined for them. You know, he wanted them to just come out and get up and show out and show off every single day. And it's two very powerful messages that I got out of this particular scripture, right? One of those messages is that when you do things, I mean, even in your mess, even in your troubles, even in your trials and tribulations, you have to think about others, right? You have to think about what is the greater purpose. And your purpose might have been for you to get a message out there to persons while you down. Sometimes your message is to tell people your struggle. Like a lot of times, we hold back our struggle because we worrying about the social media. We worrying about what people think. We worrying about what we go through. But sometimes our calling is to tell people what we going through so that people could know how resilient our God is and that we gone through something to make us stronger. Sometimes we have to tell people what it is, what our struggle, what our challenges, whatever it is that God put in our life right now that put us through pain, because when God take us out of it, we have a testimony to tell. And it's easier for you to tell that testimony to somebody when they already see you been through it. See, when you tell this testimony after the fact, people think you exaggerating it. But when you tell your story while you going through it, people in the middle of the same storms too, If you tell someone that your roof blow off during the hurricane while they in the same hurricane, they more likely to believe you than when the hurricane gone, you show up and telling people say the roof gone blowing missing off your house. That could happen before the storm. But I'm telling you now today, don't be afraid to share your pain. Don't be afraid to share your struggles. And most importantly, in the midst of it, think about others. Because that's one of the most important things what the Apostle Paul said to this. This was the message that I got out of this, right? And the second most important thing that he said is that you need to live a life worthy of your calling. You never know what your calling is. You never know what it is that God put inside you. But I could promise you this. I could promisely, wholeheartedly give you this promise from my heart and tell you that there's something in you that God has put inside you to be something greater than what you see in yourself. Every time you think you've reached a milestone, just remember that that's all that is. A milestone. That's a stone in a mile. That isn't the end of the road. That isn't it. There's more. There's more for you to do. There's more that God placed in you. Every time that you think that you reach the pinnacle of your career, go higher because there's more that God put in there for you. Live a life worthy of your calling. And most importantly, as I close this, because I don't want to talk too much longer, let me go deal with my babies, right? Is always be humble and gentle. Be patient with each other, making allowance for each other's faults because of your love. At the end of the day, ain't none of us perfect, yeah? And ain't none of us know whether or not we can see the glory of God. We could try, but at the end of the day, leave room for faults for everyone else. You know, leave room for everybody else's faults. Don't judge people. People is make mistakes too. You know what I mean? You sometimes you see a single mother out there, she's struggling with 4 kids. Don't be the one to condemn and ask her why she have more children. Be the one to go out there and help her. Don't be the one to point somebody out and say, boy, why are you in jail? You shouldn't have made that mistake. No, preach the gospel to them so that they don't make the mistake no more. Be that guy, be that girl. Don't be the one to sit down and criticize. Be the one to help. But anyway, thank you everyone for the opportunity to speak. I get this one crawling all over me right now. Look like you on this phone. But you all have a blessed morning. I'm Gary and I relinquish my mic.